I want to pull up this tweet from Kit Clarenberg. Kit is a reporter for, I believe he's at Gray Zone, and he noticed something interesting. Now, I want to make sure I'm very careful here as we start this. This is not hard confirmation of anything, but I do think it's something that warrants paying attention to. He stated, it's over. And there's an article that says, Israel rejects Zelensky's visit. Time is not right. And this is from 10 days ago. He says, what's also striking is prominent pro-Ukraine accounts are shuttering rapidly, such as UA Weapons, which claimed to track Russian losses and garnered almost 1 million followers. Wonder how long it'll take for those flags to start disappearing from display names. Why do you think, asks H2. He says, infrastructure, technology, and personnel used to amplify these accounts is being redirected elsewhere. Western powers have no use of propaganda encouraging the view Ukraine will win and needs to be sent weapons now. Quite the opposite. So this is an interesting argument that we're seeing. I think we have this one. He says, absolutely classic. An anonymous high-profile pro-Ukraine account that 10 days ago attacked me for suggesting high-profile pro-Ukraine accounts are shutting down in a coordinated manner is now shutting down. Calibre Obscura says, I will be deleting this account within a few weeks. Life is increasingly busy and frankly no longer in a place where I want to interact with things that I do every day, etc., etc. Now, it may be. This is very, very interesting. This is a tweet from October 16th when he put this out. This is a little while ago that he tweeted this. And then I think this next one was from just yesterday. It could be that U.S. intelligence agencies have been running PSYOPs. Pro-Ukraine accounts generating massive numbers of followers, not necessarily pro-Ukraine, like this UA Weapons account apparently was tracking all information. But the argument would be, yes, but from a Western perspective. When they say, oh, Russian troops are dying, is it the Western number or the Russian number? And then you have this other account that's shuttering as well. Perhaps one of two things is happening, and there could be other things. Intel agencies are running PSYOPs, and now that the money is being diverted to Israel and the Middle East, we can't run these accounts anymore. So somebody who is in, some kind of PSYOPs division or a private contractor is told, hey, shutter those accounts. We're going to be focusing on Israel. And they go, you got it. Oh, sorry, my family thing happened. Or the simple solution perhaps is Ukraine is over. No one cares anymore. This one account, Calibre, being like, my life's getting a little busy. You may as well just say what is going on in Ukraine no longer bears weight with me. Mm-hmm. And other things have become more important. And that just says whether it is the end of a PSYOP or not, nobody cares about Ukraine. It's done.
Yeah. I mean, it's not good for Zelensky either way. He was really counting on more American money from what I understand. But I think it's interesting.
I said this before, Russia won.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways that's true. I think it's interesting to see the way Ukraine has fallen to the background, right? I mean, we don't see any pro-Ukraine protests. It's not even like there was a way for these two different groups to team up. It's just off the record. And to a certain extent, I credit that to the fact that the American people can really only have one big thing in the news cycle at a time. It's very difficult for them to have, pay attention to two things at once.
Yeah.
It's like that meme where they insert one brain trip of Ukraine, then the next one is of
Israel.
Israel. Yeah. I mean, that's like the capacity that they can really just go off of.
Right.
If it is a PSYOP, man, I got a rude awakening. We got a rude awakening for these intel agencies. It's like all of the stuff that's been happening with the manipulation on social media that's propped up woke left psychotic garbage. How do they expect to get military support for Israel when they have themselves coordinated with these big tech platforms to prop up anti-Israel sentiment?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm saying like they're incompetent. Yep. Unless it really is some deep 5D chess where they're like, first we make them hate Israel, then we make them like Israel. And I really doubt it. I think the people who are just running this propaganda are just really dumb.
I wish they could rebrand these PSYOPs into something positive and caring about places like East Palestine or Maui, but they won't do that. I don't know.
That's always my
why.
question. Are they just incompetent or are they just evil? Like, I just cannot.
I don't think they make money off East Palestine the way they do with this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's evil taking advantage of a lot of incompetent people.
Right.
And I think there is a PSYOP component to these things, and there's obviously also organic people who latched on to the PSYOP, like maybe this person who says, I'm moving on to other things, is a real person.
We went to this tapas restaurant called Barcelona. Barcelona in Reston, Virginia. It was awesome, by the way. We've been there like 3 weeks in a row because it's so good.
Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Yeah.
That's how they say it in
Yes,
Catalonia.
Barcelona.
But Barcelona is the name of the restaurant, and that we have fans who work there. And I mean, maybe they won't like that I'm saying, I don't know. But the people there were completely open, like, oh, hey, like, we're big fans. Nice to meet you. And then we went back, and this guy came up and said, he's like, hey, man, I love your show. You're probably not going to get that out here in Reston, but I'm a big fan. Keep it up. And I was like, actually, we've had like 4 or 5 people here shout us out. I think the reason I bring that out, I'm not trying to humble brag or anything. The point is, stop thinking you're alone. Everyone thinks they're the only one. They're sitting there being like, oh, that's Tim Pool. I watch him. I know no one else does. So I better just say it quietly. No, it turns out everybody there was super cool. So too many people are seeing these psyops, seeing the manipulation on social media, and they're assuming, wow, everyone in this country must secretly like trans kids and Ukraine war and stuff. I better keep my mouth shut. And then it turns out everyone actually agrees with you. Nobody likes us wasting money on these foreign wars. There's been no justification for why we're doing it, shifting from Ukraine to the Middle East now. So if people just start realizing that, start speaking up, maybe we can put a stop to it.
This is why I advocate for parents when they go on play dates to immediately open up the conversation about all the things you care about the most, so you can whittle down who you can have your kids hang out with or not.
I think you should screen all your kids' friends. That does make sense to me.
I got an idea. Here's what we do. An app where you can select things that you believe in politically, and then with your friends, it will only show your political positions if you agree.
It's like public Twitter for
Okay,
friends.
I'm going to tell my developer friend. Did you get that?
So like, it'll say, what's your stance on I'm pro-choice, pro-life, progressive taxes, border control. And then if you don't agree on anything, it just doesn't share anything.
Dating app sort of for
But
parents,
it's like Bumble.
right?
Bumble had this.
they
had Bumble BFF, which was like for women to meet other women and make friends.
I'm not actually serious for the most part, because like you can't implement something like this. But the general idea is, you could input your political views, and then you don't have to worry about someone being like But the reality is, you should just be able to say, hey, I don't like the fact that in New York they're threatening Jewish people right now.
Yeah.
Maybe they shouldn't do that.
I think you're probably just not as weird as you think you are. I mean, I think a lot of people feel
Yeah.
like because they're not hearing it on mainstream media, maybe other people don't want to talk about it, but
Or just
probably
too afraid to say it out loud. Yeah.
right. Probably your views are not that outlandish. You're probably not that dramatic of a person. Like you just believe the things you believe, and if you treat it like it's normal, which it is, other people will follow suit, even if they don't completely agree with you.
So like when I say clouds are fake, it's fine.
Well,
right?
it gives us something to talk about, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to get to know how people feel about this important
clouds
issue?
are fake?
I think the majority of clouds are fake, yes.
That's another
I think
subject.
they've been pumped into the atmosphere or created out of chemtrails, and they just get recycled, and it's just poison falling out of the sky.
I think it's just water vapor.
Well, I think a lot of them, or I think some of them
And
are
how
water
could you
vapor.
build an intellectual conversation
But I-
without these
but I-
differing viewpoints?
But I think we've poisoned our sky to such a
Another
degree.
app idea.
Yeah. I think we've cloud seeded so much that it's hard to tell.
Yeah, but
what's
they
real,
use
what's
lasers
anymore.
for cloud seeding now.
Oh man.
Yeah, they don't need to put chemicals up there.
Maybe, but I'm talking. Maybe it's the vintage clouds. That haven't really got. They're still in the cycle.
See, and the thing is, I don't have a position on cloud, so this is very helpful to help me to learn about this topic.
No,
That's
look
right.
it up. Look it up. This is good. We've been seeding clouds for a while. But
For sure, yeah.
We're
But-
doing
but-
different ways now. More
Silver
ethical
iodide
ways.
was the first way they did it, and then they started using, I think 10 years ago, infrared lasers. Lasers to cloud
crazy.
seed.
It must be wild when you go on play dates with your kids, like what you launch
Yeah,
into.
it's just like this.
What's your view on clouds? Also, our kids don't eat sugar.
Exactly. Or salmon's bioengineered and it's part bug, so don't eat that either.
Well, also, people don't realize that a lot of salmon, when it says wild caught, they grow it in a farm,
Right.
release it into the wild, and then recatch it.
Right.
No joke.
Wait,
Right.
so wild caught.
It can be a lie.
Wait, so then which one do you get? Which one do you get? Because it's not.
So there's things you got to watch out for are if there's a company called like Wild Caught Salmon, and Wild Caught is a brand name, then it's
Got
farm.
it.
Or if Wild Caught Salmon is a brand name, is not man. I'm not saying quite literally that's the case. I'm saying watch out for brand names that masquerade
Yeah.
as
And look for the
descriptions.
colors of salmon too.
Yeah. If you look online, you'll notice that wild salmon's actually not so fatty. So if your salmon is pretty
Right.
fatty, it's probably corn fed or something nonsense.
Right.
But what they'll do is they'll raise salmon in a farm in a big vat. Then they'll dump them in the ocean. Then they'll go with big ships and catch them and say, we caught them in the wild.
Yeah. Fukushima is
So
also
wait,
a problem.
to recap, salmons don't like corn. They're not a corn on the cob fan.
I
don't
think
know.
they feed them corn. I'm not entirely sure. But more back to the point, the point I was bringing up initially is that with this story, potentially arguing that many of these pro-Ukraine accounts were psyops, the first thing I'd have to say outside of the context of the story, just in general, is absolutely the government is running psychological operations on social media to generate support for war.
Yes.
So think about all the accounts right now that are demanding U.S. intervention over Israel. And Elon Musk says he wants to charge $1 per year. It's the only way to get rid of the bots. I don't know if even that will work. All he's going to do is create a more expensive market for bots.
Yep.
Right now, bots are free.
Yep.
You charge $1. What's going to happen is the barrier for entry for bot making goes up. And then the bot companies and contractors will just say, so you wanted how many bots? 3,000? We're increasing our prices by 340% because of Elon Musk's, dollar. So you got to cover the $1 per account. Then you've got to cover the credit card, so it's an extra $15. All in all, it's going to cost you 3 or 4 times more for your bots. And then these organizations go, oh yeah, no problem. I can afford that.
It becomes a business expense.
It's just more expensive to do.
Right.
And you think like governments are going to abandon their psyops on Twitter?
No,
way.
they've been working on those for a
absolutely
long
not.
time.
Yeah.
No, they love psychological operations. They've been performing them on us for forever.
So he's a psyop within a psyop within a psyop.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
you don't know. Maybe the psyop was the psyop the whole time.
Maybe the psyop was the psyop we made along the way.
Getting the psyop to be exposed was the actual intention.
Wow.
Again,
Make you
5D
distrust
chess
what
that I
you're
can't
That
follow.
is Inverted World Season 3. Off I go.
It is kind of hilarious that a few weeks ago we were talking about how I'm looking at the BBC's battle map for Ukraine, and it shows Russia controlling the land bridge into Crimea, and I'm like, that's it, they got what they wanted. And these conservatives are like, that's not true. They wanted all of Ukraine. They were going to invade from the north, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we lost, we're done, everybody out. We're no longer interested in what's going on in Ukraine.
Again, I'd really like to hear more from Zelensky, who is probably so mad about his business venture failing. I do think, we couldn't sustain this, even with Janet Yellen saying we can afford 2 wars. Realistically, no. And also, we could maybe theoretically continue to pay for both things. I know Speaker Johnson was there was a clip of him being asked by journalists, are you going to send more money to Ukraine today? But the reality is, as much as we need financial, it needs the attention span of the American people.
That's right.
And if it's not there, the money won't follow.
They could print all the money they want, but it's the morale they need.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.